if you've landed here, chances are you're a big Damon Albarn fan, just like Elton John.
You are, for me, the most interesting British musician.
But even if you've never heard of him, I'm sure you've heard this song.
I'm feeling glad I got sunshine.
And of course, you've heard this one. Blur and Gorillaz, two bands that defined the music of their respective eras. And behind them, there was one man, Damon Albarn. He's one of the greatest creators of all time, and his ideas are now the template for a lot of the biggest artists we have.
The NME Award for Innovation goes to Damon Albarn.
He blended different genres, collaborated with numerous artists. He even created the world's first virtual band. But somehow he always stayed on top.
Blur changed the world and fucking Gorillaz changed the world, and this man is literally a genius, and that's that.
How has Damon Albarn been able to succeed over and over again? What's his secret?
There never have been that many true visionaries in the music business.
I'm really obsessed with Damon Albarn. I've listened to all his interviews. I've read all these biographies. I've played all the music he's ever created. And I think I might have found his secret. Let me tell you a story.
Britain's most popular pop groups have begun the biggest chart war in 30 years.
August 14th, 1995 marks one of the biggest moments in the UK music scene. At the time, two bands were at the forefront of the new Britpop movement, Oasis and Blur. And on this summer day in 1995, they were about to settle the score. Who was really the #1 Britpop band?
Both groups released new singles today and hope to take that off the top of the charts.
Both bands made a bold move. They were going to release a single on the same day. The idea was simple. There was only room for one single at the top.
There was a similar battle of the bands in the 1960s between the Rolling Stones and the Beatles.
And when the day came, the winner was Blur.
But tonight, there's no denying Blur are top of the pops.
This moment shows just how big Blur was at the time in the UK. Bigger than Oasis. And the leader of the band was Damon Albarn. Both of his parents were artists, so of course they sent young Damon to art school. And together with his art school friends, Damon assembled Blur. And here's the thing, in most cases, if you want to be successful, you follow the trend. And in the 90s, the trendy music was something called grunge music. Blur had incredibly talented musicians and all tools available to play grunge music. In fact, the record label was pushing them to do exactly that.
They were very eager for us to sort of fit into, the sound of the moment.
But Damon Albarn thought grunge was simply too trendy. He wanted to create something new. So he deliberately set out to make anti-grunge music. So with their second album, Modern Life is Rubbish, they leaned hard into their British identity. He even wanted to call the album Britain versus America.
But it was with the release of their third album, Parklife, that they achieved national fame. The album sold over 5 million copies worldwide, and Britpop was truly born.
In 1994, Parklife was released, and suddenly Blur wasn't just a band, they were a phenomenon.
Because it's time for the best British group, Blur!
Yes! Here's the thing, Blur's label thought Parklife would flop. The album was a bold departure from the trends dominating the music scene at the time. But Damon Albarn, he just didn't care. But it wasn't just their sound. They even looked different. While American grunge bands embraced flannels and long hair, you've seen Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Blur went the completely opposite direction. They adopted a clean, retro British style, making them feel fresh and distinctly anti-grunge.
You don't know what they've... a cliche. You don't know what they'll do next, but you really don't.
By the late 90s, Damon Albarn decided he wanted to create a grunge parody album. So the label freaked the F out. They thought the fans simply wouldn't get it.
Well, Damon had this little song that he had on acoustic guitar. He had demo. It was very slow. This is quite good. Left it really, really fast, really, really noisy and horrible. And tell the record label that we want to record it as a single. I'll scare them to death. they'll hate it.
With this album, Blur broke into the US market as well and proved they weren't just a Britpop band, they were a band willing to evolve. And as the world was digging to song 2, Damon Albarn was already working on his next project. While writing his most successful music to date in the late 90s, Damon Albarn lived in London with a cartoonist named Jamie Hewlett.
I watched 3 zombie films on the road the other day.
One day, while watching MTV, Damon Albarn had an epiphany. He felt that the music industry and the media were becoming increasingly superficial, with manufactured pop stars emphasizing appearance and marketability over creativity and authenticity. This frustration inspired an idea, and that idea turned into Gorillaz.
It's his band. It's his idea. It's his idea.
Gorillaz blurred the lines between reality and fiction. Their animated members participated in interviews, called into late-night shows.
What? I have a phone call? Hello?
Oh, hi. Look, I understand you booked my band Gorillaz for your TV show today, and I need to clear something up.
And also performed live concerts using holograms and creative visuals. And in public, Damon Albarn was simply a representative of Gorillaz in the real world. But behind the scenes, he was the mastermind behind it all.
It was quite a visionary thing, in the sense that I think pop music became more cartoon-like.
It wasn't just a cool concept, it was a statement. And in 1998, this was mind-blowingly ahead of its time. And the music, well, it's pure genius. Take Clint Eastwood, for example, one of their biggest songs. It became a massive hit. And in making this song, Damon Albarn simply used one of the default demos of this synthesizer to create one of the most iconic tunes of the 2000s.
That's it, that's the preset. It's the Rock 1 preset. But it gets even more. Finally, I'm out of my cage.
It looks simple. It looks almost like cheating, but no, it's pure creative genius. With Gorillaz, Damon Albarn didn't just want to make a band. He wanted Gorillaz to be a platform to experiment with music, art, and ideas in a way no one else was doing. That's why Gorillaz were blending rap, electronic elements, reggae, and pop. Sounds that were worlds apart but somehow worked together. The genre blending style that Gorillaz perfected has since become the blueprint for modern pop music. Like Beyoncé's recent exploration of country, and Post Malone's mix of hip-hop and rock, and Billie Eilish's blend of electronic and alternative pop. Before Damon Albarn and Gorillaz, such cross-genre experimentation in the mainstream was unheard of. Gorillaz was all about collaborations. They had more than 50 different artists participating in making Gorillaz' music. They had De La Soul, Snoop Dogg, Elton John, Mavis Staples, Lou Reed, Bobby Womack.
You know, people like you and John Lennon, you're like, that's where I got that thing from.
Pusha T, Grace Jones, Mos Def, JPEG Mafia, and the list goes on and on. This way, every new album of Gorillaz felt very fresh and unexpected. Just like the Blur days, none of us were able to predict what was to come next, which was exactly why we were fans in the first place.
Is this a moment of transition as a species? Are we leaving ourselves, or are we in fact getting closer to our true selves? Is the future of man a more sort of one of duality with the digital world, or is this in fact something which is destroying us? Is it making us blind? Is it making us deaf? Is it making us sort of lose our senses?
Throughout his career, Damon Albarn has been incredibly intentional about the message he sends through his music. It's never just about making music that sounds cool. He's always tackled some really important issues.
My interpretation of the island is that it's the collection of all the plastic and stuff.
One of the most conceptually ambitious albums he's ever created is Gorillaz' Plastic Beach. That album tells the story of a fictional island made entirely of consumer waste and plastic. This island, of course, symbolizes a world devastated by environmental destruction, consumerism, and the loss of authenticity. It represents a place where the old natural world has been forgotten and replaced by something artificial.
I try not to be a precious. I think that's one of the things that I don't like about the music business is how precious it makes people sometimes.
Okay, so this guy is obviously amazing, super talented, and he's done a lot of things right. But what exactly is Damon Albarn's secret?
I wouldn't say I enjoy making mistakes, but I'm very open-minded to them and recognise the benefit of making mistakes. I still make mistakes, you know.
My take is this. While most artists chase commercial success or cater to whatever record labels demand, Damon has always been different. He wasn't interested in just making hits. He was creating art.
My hands just do it, so I just feel it. I just hear where it should go.
He wanted to provoke, to experiment, to deliver something truly original. And the result, well, we've seen it. It's albums that weren't just successful, but also iconic. So I think combining the ability to stick with what feels right, with an incredible work ethic, openness to experimentation, and a plain refusal to compromise, has allowed him to succeed in whatever he wants.
Let's allow ourselves not to let music industry rules dictate how we should make music, and that's what the Gorillaz have done, all right?
But it does take a big set of balls, skills, and a really strong work ethic to make it work. Let me know in the comments what you think is Damon Albarn's secret.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you.
Damon Albarn has almost never featured guitar solos in his music, and lately guitar solos have been a dying thing in pop music. But it turns out it might be coming back. So please check out my latest video on the future of guitar solos over here. And thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, and I hope to see you for the next one. Truly. Thank you.